the stores will be on sale. This is your chance to buy the dream guitar, keyboard, drums, guitar effects, mic stands, guitar strings, guitar straps, drumsticks, guitar parts, guitar cables, the cajon that you're dreaming about, and other musical instruments. So I will see you December 11, December 12, Saturday, Sunday for the legendary 2-day Christmas sale. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 20% off. 1:01 p.m. to 4 p.m. 30% off. 4:01 p.m. to 8 p.m. 40% off. 8:01 p.m. to mall closing. 50% off. All the items in all 10 stores are on sale. Taylor Guitars, 10% off all day long. The sale extends to online sale through Shopee and Lazada, and the same time frame and discounts apply. Strictly no reservations. Cash, credit cards, PayMaya, Home Credit, and GCash are accepted. So get ready to have a beautiful and happy Christmas. Be there for the 2-day Christmas sale of RJ Guitar Center, December 11 and December 12. If you want to check out the items ahead, go to www.rjguitarcenter.com.
For DTI Fair Trade Permit number FTEB-130818, series of 2021.
You can now listen to RJFM and DZRJ 8:10 a.m. from wherever you are. Just type in RJ 100.3 FM on TuneIn Radio, Streama, Radio Garden, and just type in RJFM for online box radio. For DZRJ 8:10 a.m., just type in DZRJ 8:10 a.m. on TuneIn Radio, Streama, and Radio Garden. Happy listening! You are watching the multi-awarded Radio Bandido TV on Channel 224 Sky Cable and TV Plus boxes. Simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Informing, advising, and entertaining the Filipinos and OFWs around the world. Streaming live on www.facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. or on YouTube, channel RJAM News. To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners, you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup.
Watch and listen. Kontra Birada every Tuesday from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Hosted by Attorney Mike Toledo and Attorney Karen Jimeno. This program will discuss the most important and fresh news and events and feature their guest, Attorney Salvador Sal Panelo. So catch Kontra Birada on Radio Bandido TV, Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, GMA Afforda boxes, and all DTT boxes. Facebook/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and YouTube channel RJAM News.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno, and thank you for joining us again at Kontra Birada with, of course, Attorney Mike Toledo, who's in transit, but still with us
Hi.
today.
How are you, Attorney Karen? Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Oh, yes.
Thank
You
you.
know, alam mo naman, hindi natin pwedeng, talagang hindi pwede tayong hindi magsama sa programang ito kasi itong ating programa Kontra Birada dito sa Radio Bandido ay pinapanood ng at pinapakinggan ng marami dahil sa mga juicy news na nakukuha natin dahil din sa ating special guest na si Secretary Sal Panelo. Kaya maski na on transit ako, sabi ko kailangan makonect.
Kahit ako actually, as a host, I always look forward to Kontra Birada, lalo na pagka meron na namang development sa politics, because Secretary Sal Panelo, who is always our special guest, ay laging merong insights, may valuable insights na walang merong iba na hindi mo natin mapapakinggan sa news or sa regular radio. So we're very happy again, of course, to have Secretary Sal Panelo joining us today. Good afternoon, Secretary Sal.
Afternoon,
Sal,
Sir Birada, Atty.
siguro
Hello,
pag-usapan natin
Secretary
na
Sal.
Secretary Sal.
Kami,
Kasi nabasa niyo ba yung column ni Secretary Sal?
Yes,
Karen?
nabasa ko yung column niya. At it was a very insightful column about the state of politics now. I mean, in terms of the developments, pati yung how it's playing out with the different political parties. So I really want to hear more from Secretary Sal because sa pagbasa ko nga, kung ako yung ordinary reader, parang gusto ko siyang tanungin na, and we're very lucky to have him right now, who can, para mas mabigyan niya pa ng mga, more, ma-elaborate niya pa yung sinulat niya.
narinig po ako ng datawan sa Mindanao, sa General Santos. So, umiikot po ang inyong lingkod at nakikipag daw pangpalad sa mga LGUs, mga ordinaryong tao, at nakikita po natin ang pulso ng bayan dito sa Mindanao.
Si Secretary Sal actually ngayon nasa Kidapawan siya, which is why medyo mahirap yung kanyang reception. But again, we appreciate that you took the time to be with us, Secretary Sal, all the way from Mindanao. So, yeah, yun nga, yung kanina, sabi ni Attorney Mike, pag-usapan natin yung recent column niyo po.
Anong gusto niyo malaman na maano lakas ang signal dito ha? Nakikita ko kayo, narinig ko kayo, malinaw ang mga itsura ninyo sa screen.
Okay.
Malabo ba yung tingnan?
Yeah, for me, you're coming, na medyo choppy. What do you think, Attorney Mike? Sa'yo ba malinaw?
Yeah, medyo choppy sexal.
Yeah.
Kasi yung mark dito, puno pag-bar dapat malakas. Pero siguro nga dahil may na signal. Anyway, ano bang gusto natin pag-usapan?
Ako, Attorney Mike, ako yung gusto kong tanungin yung tungkol sa article mo na the baffling state of a baffling unexpected political rigmarole. I had to even look up rigmarole.
Baffling na, rigmarole pa.
Oh, so I had to look it up actually. I was like, what does rigmarole mean? And then it's a lengthy and complicated procedure or a rambling story or statement. So, Sexal, can you give us an insight? Like, ano na ba talaga nangyayari ngayon? Final na ba yung BBM Sara tandem? Because and I think it was this week, right? Nagkaroon ng meeting si Presidente with a congressman and according to the news, the President endorsed Senator Bongo and Mayor Sara as the President and Vice Presidential candidates to support.
Well, ang katotohanan yan ay yung kombinasyon ng BBM sa Sara ay marami sila kombinasyon. But at the same time, whether oppositors agree or not, alam mo yung kombinasyong BBM sa hindi sabagat meron yung kombinasyon Bongo Sara. Sabagat hindi natin makakaila na si Sara Duterte, na Presidente Duterte, ay kaalyado ng grupo ni Bongo. At wala naman pong kandidato sa Bongo, kaya ang kailang Presidente ay si Sara Duterte. Kaya huwag po kayo magtaka kung makikita nyo sa mga ibang ng Pilipinas, kombinasyong BBM Sara, subalit meron ding Bongo Sara. Yan ang medyo complicated, pero wala, yan ang realidad. Yan ang likha ng hindi makaisa ng damdamin ng mga kandidato.
So, Sexal, parang yung nangyari ng 2016, di ba? Nagkaroon din ng siyempre, Duterte Cayetano, tumatakbo si Senador Secretary Foreign Affairs Cayetano bilang Vice Presidential candidate din ni President Duterte. Pero meron ding mga grupo, yung ALDAP, na ang gusto naman nila ay Duterte Marcos at that time, no, bilang Vice President. So in a way, parang ganito na naman.
Ang kaibahan yan, Vice President nagagawa ng grupo, in a matter of speaking, is the President. At hindi lamang yan, siya supposed to be ang pinupurso ng bayan na maging presidente. Subalit sa hindi magandang pagkakataon, siya hindi slide sa vice-presidente. Kaya sabi ko nga sa aking column, na actually hindi mas focus na yung alaman. Kaya basta bago ko yung bukas. Kaya yung matagal na pagkitay ng mga kababayan natin sa at magpong sa isang shocking disappointment at the same time pleasant delight. Shocking disappointment sapagkat ang gusto ng marami sa kanyang mga siya ang presidente upang patuloy nito mga sinunod lahat ng radical pagbabago sa infrastruktura, sa lahat ng larangan, sa labanan sa kahirapan, sa digmaan sa droga, digmaan sa terorismo, sa lahat. Kaya gusto ng tao sana ay isang bilang may kalipad ng mga katingan ng liderato ng kanyang ama ang pumalit sa kanya. At nakikita natin, magpapalito sa Duterte. Pero siguro, at ito will put at Mr. Bongo. Pero ang naging
no, wala na si Secretary Sal. So, maybe let's discuss this, Attorney Mike, para rin sa mga viewers natin na hindi masyadong naintindihan si Secretary Sal. What I was getting from Secretary Sal was that it's very clear that the President's administration's tandem is Senator Bongo and Mayor Sara Duterte for President and Vice President. But there's also this, yung in-announce na nga na tandem between BBM and Sara, which they're allowing to proceed by itself. So it's, tama ka, it's like the 2016 Duterte Cayetano na yun yung formal alliance, but there's also yung umaandar na groups na ALDAB, Duterte, Bongbong. And I remember may mga rallies minsan na ang ino-organize talaga is strictly ALDAB. So even if there was a tandem between Duterte and at that time Senator Cayetano, may mga rallies na ang uma-attend would be President Duterte and BBM or neither of the two para walang conflict. But ang hindi ko ngayon hindi pa clear sa akin would be which would the others support? Like, I mean, yung mga organizations or I guess political parties, hindi rin clear sa akin saan, di ba PDP, from what I understand, PDP from our last episode, usapan natin yun, di ba, na the president ran for Senate under PDDS.
programa ako.
Because to avoid the legal issue with the PDP two factions. But considering that it's Senator Bongo and Sara that is being endorsed by the president, will PDP also, under the Kusi faction, endorse that tandem? So, yan yung mga, under the law, di ba? Wala namang, hindi naman bawal yon that they will endorse someone that's not part of their political party.
Hindi naman in terms of being something that is prohibited by the law, hindi. But of course, para pang, siyempre, it does not bode well, no? yung sarili mong partido, hindi mo sila supportahan, pero that is the party that you're running under or the party that you're supporting. Kaya nga, kagaya na sinabi ko nung dati, Atty. Karen, sa mga unang episodes natin, comment niya ako that this is a result talaga. Ito po ay resulta sa talagang weak party system natin. Kasi wala nga tayong strong party system foundation compared to other countries, and may mga dalubhasa or mga eksperto sa batas na nagsasabi na we have a weak party system also because of the 1987 Constitution, that particular Constitution which allowed a multi-party system, pero it did not naman allow for example, in case of the presidential elections, a runoff election in the event that nobody gets a majority. Kaya nga nagkakaroon tayo ng minority president. No? Pangalawa, unlike the United States, no? Pag binoto mo ang kandidato ng, for example, the Democratic Party president, automatic na yung vice president ay panalo din. The vote for the president is the vote for the vice president, whether it be Republican or Democrat. In other words, hindi nagkakaroon ng sitwasyon na ang presidente at ang vice-presidente are from different parties, different political beliefs, or are totally not aligned with each other in terms of advocacies, or maski na sa ano, na hindi lang sa paniniwala, but maybe they don't really like each other also. That's why they cannot work with each other. Kaya ngayon, we have this situation na ilang beses na nangyari, no? If I'm not mistaken, since the time of President Ramos onwards, you have a president that belongs to one party and a vice president that belongs to another party, which is not, I don't think it is good, because kung ganun, minsan, yung vice president, for example, baka wala na siyang gawin, kundi planuhin na niya na kailan mo siya pwede maging presidente, di ba? Pangalawa, baka mawawalan din ng tiwala yung nakaupong Pangulo dun sa kanyang vice-presidente kasi hindi sila of the same party. Kahit pa paano, there is, whether you like it or not, sa paniniwala, kung meron talagang konting, konting patutuda dahil different parties. But yun nga, pinapayagan ng ating saligang batas yan. Wala tayo different parties with the vice president and the president and come from different parties. They're voted separately. Walang runoff election, so we can have a minority president, kagaya ni President Ramos noon. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he only got 24% of the votes. Can you imagine? Having 24% of the votes, that means more than close to 80% of the voting public or the electorate at that time did not vote for you. Diba? Ganon, that's the reality. Whereas kung magkaroon sana ng tinatawag na runoff election para sa ating mga kababayan, ang ibig sabihin nun, pag merong eleksyon, at let's say 4 o 5 kandidato tumatakbo at wala nakakuha ng tinatawag na clear majority, then nagkakaroon ulit ng eleksyon dun sa top 2. Sa top 2 dun sa natitira para malaman kung sino sa top 2 na makakakuha naman ng majority. And that way, may clear mandate. May clear mandate ng taong bayan. So, I guess, one of the reasons kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng tawag ni Secretary Panelo na rigmarole, no? Baffling rigmarole.
And rambling statements.
Diba? Rambling.
Yeah.
Diba? Lahat tayo, I baffle talaga. I mean, ako talaga, I can admit with all honesty that this is the first time in the many elections that I've witnessed na talagang the uncertainty is really so much.
Yeah, I agree. I was watching Beyond Politics. This is all CNN Philippines, but I think that weekend where there was so much going on when Mayor Sara filed for vice presidency and then Senator Bongo suddenly filed for presidency. And then nag-file na at biglang lumutaw nga yung PDDS, which is like a party that no one even knew existed or most people were not aware of. Parang sabi nila, so far, this 2022 elections is really incomparable in terms of the past elections sa pagkagulo daw sa circus. But I think that's why if we look at the US, they tend to label themselves as Democrats or Republicans, I mean, among the voters. Whereas sa atin, nagkaroon ng mga labels na Dilawan, DDS, yung nagiging yung loyalty would be based on the personality of the leader. And I find it to be very divisive. And ang hirap nga because we've seen in politics, even under this administration, when there was already a loss of trust in the vice presidency, nawala ng cabinet position si Vice President Lenny, which is part of our policy in Malacanang, where the president keeps his cabinet members as long as they enjoy his trust and confidence. So they serve at the pleasure of the president. And I guess it's part of the baffling yung baffling effect nung decision ni Mayor Sara is because I think in the article of Secretary Sal, he called the position as a what is his term there? I'm trying to find a starting closure effect. Disappointment because of a dormant and unchallenging position. Yes, because it can be a very dormant position na wala ka talagang role if you're a vice president, especially if the president doesn't give you a key cabinet position. And I hope makuha ulit natin si Secretary Sal, no?
Oo nga.
Wala na talaga.
Busy talaga siya sa pagkakampanya.
Yeah,
Ako naman, baka maisipin ng mga tao na kasi nasa kotse ako, baka nagkakampanya rin ako. Hindi po. Talagang meron na akong meeting. At but I cannot miss the program. No? Kasi isa pong malaking karangalan na tayo ay napagbigyan ng pagkakataon na maging kasama dito sa Radyo Bandido, no? RJTV, at pagkaroon tayo ng ganitong programa na pwede nating i-share ang ating mga beliefs, paniniwala, natutunan, at mag-interview ng mga tao, kagaya ni Secretary Sal, para magbigay ng kahulugan or explanation sa mga nangyayari, lalo na the past couple of days. No? Dito nga, the past 2 weeks, grabe talaga yung mga, pinag-usapan natin to weeks ago, get ready for the teleserye to unfold. No? But I think, while we were expecting that there will be definitely some major announcements, changes, pero I think medyo nagulat tayo sa mga nangyari. Parang we didn't expect this. Then after that, bigla na lang yun na, si Presidente, no? Medyo inatake na niya yung presidential candidate na tandem ni Vice Birada ni Mayor Sara. So talagang pero tuloy ang suporta siyempre kay Mayor Sara, no? Kaya talaga marami. Then within PDP laban itself, no? May dalawang wing. Kaya nga ang presidente, ang Pangulo ay tumakbo sa another party. I think the PDDS, no? Party. Kasi nga baka naman magkaroon ng legal issue, magkaroon ng problema, at baka magkaroon pa ng aperya ng kanilang pagtatakbo. Kaya I think it is, in terms of political strategy, that is a very good move, just to make sure that you are legally covered in the event that it is questioned. Now, talking about legal questions, isa nga sa mga nangyayari ngayon yung pinailan si DBM ng disqualification cases.
There are 4 pending.
Siguro, Attorney Karen, you can explain to our listeners, ano ba yung essence ng disqualification case na yun? Para naman maintindihan nila kung, at least on the legal standpoint lang.
Yeah. Well, there's one, and in fact, one of the petitions is headed by Theodore Te, who used to work in the Supreme Court as the Chief Information Officer for a while. Yes. just as a side anecdote, Attorney Te used to be my professor in UP Law. And then he taught criminal law procedure, yes. And when I was teaching law in UP, naging co-professor ko si Teddy Te. So he's actually a very good lawyer. So I wouldn't consider Tucson's petition because they do have high caliber lawyers that wrote the petition. And currently, they're questioning yung pag-extend ng COMELEC ng time for BBM to answer or reply to their petition because nag-extend ng time nag-file for extension yung camp ni BBM claiming that the counsel they hired, Attorney Estelito Mendoza, was busy, so he didn't have sufficient time to prepare an adequate reply. So, in-extend doon ng COMELEC yung time, but they said that by the time COMELEC issued the order extending the time, naglapse na yung period to reply. So that's one contention. But the others, yung for consideration here would be, ano ba talaga yung kiniklaim na basis for disqualifying BBM or canceling his certificate of candidacy? And this really goes into his prior conviction with the lower courts and then Court of Appeals, which was affirmed by the Supreme Court, na he failed to pay and file tax returns for several years. If I'm not mistaken, 3 to 4 years. And under our law, that's considered tax evasion. So, in the tax code, pagka hindi ka nakapag-file ng taxes and hindi ka rin nakabayad ng taxes, called tax evasion, and the penalty is both fine and imprisonment with accessory penalties of perpetual disqualification from public office. So, I think one of the claims, so we still don't know how the lawyers of BBM will reply, but other potential defenses that would be raised would be, I think yung naging decision kasi originally convict him. So walang contention ata o wala nang dispute na hindi niya na-file yung taxes niya at nabayaran. Talagang hindi. So from the regional court na affirm yan ng Court of Appeals, and then sa Supreme Court, I think nung na-affirm din yung Court of Appeals ruling, magmo-motion for reconsideration dapat si BBM, and then he withdrew that MR, kaya naging final na. So final na yung conviction. But I haven't really seen the ruling, but the content others that gave an opinion on this was that hindi daw nag-impose ng imprisonment. It should be fine and imprisonment, but in this case, fine lang. So they're saying that the ruling was void for failing to impose the proper penalty. But I also heard 2 weeks ago, I was in a lunch where former BIR Commissioner Kim Henares was there. So some people in the lunch were asking her what she thought. And as a former BIR Commissioner and as a lawyer, her opinion was that yung accessory penalty, even if a court fails to impose it, it attaches automatically when there's a conviction for that specific crime of tax evasion. So I think yun yung magiging question of law here na considering that he was convicted, was he by then and moving forward perpetually disqualified from holding public office? Kasi in the past, like for instance with former President Estrada, meron siyang conviction, and the only reason he got to run again for mayor of Manila was because nagkaroon siya ng pardon from a president. So, but as long as you have that prior conviction, you're disqualified from running for public office. So I think yan yung parang suspense na isa pa. If we're talking about 2022 elections sa teleserye, ito yung isa pang magiging unknown and uncertainty because para siyang yung disqualification case naman nung time ni Senator Grace po back in 2016, yung question whether she was a natural-born Filipino citizen because kung nagka-finding na it wasn't proved that she was a natural-born Filipino citizen, she couldn't have continued to run for president at that time. So the same here. Na it really is a serious ground for disqualification. And then the others naman, they're saying na what is also a ground for canceling his certificate of candidacy is that statement in the certificate of candidacy when you file it that says you have no prior convictions. Kasi may line item doon na you're basically certifying or attesting under oath that you have no prior convictions. And the line there in the certificate of candidacy is very clear that it's asking the candidate to say that do you have any prior convictions? And in this case, since meron nga at hindi dineclare ni BBM, yun yung basis ng petitioners to say that he filed false or fraudulent certificate of candidacy.
Alam mo, sabi naman ng of course ng lawyers ni BBM that they will definitely answer the petition. They strongly believe that there are no grounds for disqualification, and I think it will really be up to the COMELEC and maybe eventually up to the Supreme Court to decide. But kagaya nga na sinabi mo, this also happened during the time of Senator Grace Poe, and even prior to that, during the time of the father of Grace Poe, when FPJ ran against GMA, you will recall, they also filed a petition for disqualification on the grounds of citizenship. So nakikita naman po natin, isa sa mga ginagamit din ng mga opponents, no, in electoral exercise or during elections is to use whatever you have in your armory, no? Kung ano yung pwede mong gamitin para hindi manalo ang kalaban mo. Of course, you have advertisement, positive advertisement, but at the same time, although hindi natin iniamin at bawal, pero nagkakaroon din ng maraming negative advertisement, no? Or negative, maybe whether it be disinformation or true information, pero sinisiraan ka, kasama na rin yun talaga sa mga kampanya, no? You see that in the United States, no? A lot of negative campaigning, which is also very effective. And one of them is the legal. Diba? Yung legal, yun na nga, kung may makita silang butas na pwedeng gamitin, even if perhaps hindi sila sure na pwedeng mag-prosper yung kaso, no? But the fact na nag-file ka, magdadalawang isip na yung mga magdadalawang isip na yung magbibigay ng pondo. Magdadalawang isip kasi sayang naman, tutulong tayo dito sa kampanya. Magbibigay tayo ng campaign funds or spend our time, our effort or provide materials for the elections, pero hindi naman tayo siguradong mananalo dahil baka ma-DQ, no? So this is also one of the things being used now by those running for office against their opponent. Now, as to whether it will be effective, it really all depends. The purpose sometimes talagang to discourage others from coming out to supporting you, maybe it will be effective. But sometimes also, it can backfire. Kasi kung makita ng taong bayan na underdog ka, ginugulpi ka, pinagtutulungan ka, naghahanap sila ng paraan para hindi ka tumakbo dahil ikaw siguro ang nangunguna sa survey. You're the ones ahead. You're the one leading. So they're trying to bring you down using whatever means possible. Pag nakita rin ng taong bayan din yun at naramdaman nila yun, baka magkaroon ng backlash. No? Negative bang mangyayari imbis na hindi mawala yung his popularity will go down or the support will dissipate. Ang mangyayari ay lalong lumakas, lalong lulusog. So, we don't know. We don't know yet, no? Malalaman natin sa next couple of days whether, for example, the disqualification case that was filed against BBM will actually, one, make him less popular. Of course, and number two, of course, on the legal side, will it prosper? No? And will it prosper in the COMELEC? And if And of course, will it reach the Supreme Court? And how will this affect the campaign? I'm sure there will be an effect one way or the other. Sigurado naman tayo dyan, magkakaroon ng epekto. But I would like to see the next couple of days what kind of effect. Because thus far, kung susundan natin yung latest survey na nakita ko, publicist pa yun, yung latest survey, ay nangunguna si Senator BBM na 54%. And I understand Vice President, or for Vice President, Mayor Sara at 50 plus din yata, if I'm not mistaken, no?
For
survey na yun.
Okay.
Natin, diba?
Yeah. Did that include na kaya Senator Bongo? So after, I think we need to take a break. But after the break, speaking of teleserye, I want to ask or talk to you about the blind item of the president about a certain presidential candidate who is supposedly taking cocaine. But for now, let's take a short break. And hopefully, Secretary Sal can also join us when we return.
Be enlightened with inspiring stories. Interesting biblical features. And insightful interviews with the pillars of our Catholic faith. Power to Unite with Elvira.
Welcome, the newest addition to our lineup of explosive anchors. A veteran broadcaster, a sports news anchor, race car driver, columnist, and reporter. Ira Panginiban and his program, Free Spits. Free Spits, a parody of free speech, a right we always abuse. Free Spits, freewheeling discussions, no holds barred. Free Spits, the real sentiments of the Filipino people. Free Spits and Ira Panginiban, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on Teleradio Bandido TV, Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, GMA Afforda box, and all DTT boxes. Also heard on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Also seen on Facebook/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and YouTube channel RJAM News. Bangon na! Tanghali na! RJ na!
Watch and listen. Kontra Birada every Tuesday from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Hosted by Attorney Mike Toledo and Attorney Karen Jimeno. This program will discuss the most important and fresh news and events and feature their guest, Attorney Salvador Sal Panelo. So catch Kontra Birada on Radio Bandido TV, Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, GMA Afforda boxes, and all DTT boxes. Facebook/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and YouTube channel RJAM News.
Hi, good afternoon again to everyone. We're back in Kontra Birada, and this is Attorney Karen Jimeno. And of course, I'm with my partner, Attorney Mike Toledo.
Hello again, Attorney Karen, sa ating mga tagapakinig at nanonood sa RJTV na ngayon lang sumama sa atin. Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Pagpaumanin nyo na po at talagang ayaw ko namang ma-miss ang ating programa dahil nga sa aking maganda at matalunong partner din. At of course, sa ating special guest, Secretary Sal, nasa loob po ako nasa sasakyan ngayon para lang siguradong makasama ko kayo ngayong gabi. Galing po ako sa isang mga meeting na hindi ko talaga maiwasan. Kaya may ilaw sa likod. At nagugulat yata yung mga tao sa labas. Kung anong ginagawa ko sa loob ng kotse.
Yeah. And alam mo, kanina nga, even to say na good afternoon, parang naninibago ako kasi talagang palapit, makikita natin palapit na yung December. 5:30, madilim na talaga sa labas.
Madilim na. Yes.
Feels like,
True.
Oo, parang, well, buti na lang walang winter dito. But 'di ba, ikaw, Attorney Mike, nag-aral ka sa London, ako dati sa Boston. Pagka ganitong panahon na, parang depressing kasi 4 p.m. pa lang, ang dilim-dilim na.
Wala na. Sobrang dilim na. Kaya tuloy doon, alas 4 pa lang, sarap na uminom.
Well, at least dito,
Lalo na malamig.
you can do that, but
Lalo na
with
malamig.
nicer weather at mas may
Oo.
ilaw naman, may sun.
Oo nga. Oh. But when it comes to Christmas, sa akin pong pananaw, no, I always believe that the most fun place to be during Christmas and the holidays is Manila or the Philippines.
I agree.
Talagang masaya dito sa atin. Saka pinakamahaba.
Oo,
Pinakamahabang Pasko sa buong mundo.
yeah, in fact, last October, nagpunta ako ng mall, may Christmas tree na malaki. And this was even before Halloween, bago pa mag-undas. Kaya sabi ko, parang sa atin talaga, nag-overlap ang undas and Halloween with Christmas kasi nagsisimula na yung Christmas decorations. At
Oo nga.
nung 2 years na nag-aaral ako recently sa US, sa California, 2018 to 2020, nakakamiss talaga yung Pasko dito because doon pag makita mo yung may isang time, finals week pa naman namin ng December. Pag naglalakad ako, hindi mo mararamdaman yung Christmas. Isang beses naglalakad ako and napansin ko mukhang normal pa rin. And then I realized, December na nga, nakakalungkot naman. And as soon as I went home here to the Philippines for the Christmas break, feel ko na agad yung Pasko. Sa airport pa lang, meron ng Christmas tree.
Totoo. Saka dito sa atin, September pa lang, or end of September, may naririnig ka ng Christmas carols, di ba?
Yeah. Yeah, sabi nga nila, Vermonts, di ba? Yung mga Jose Marichan Christmas carols are back. And I will go back to politics. And this week, isa for me, yung exciting development sa elections teleserye was the president giving a speech and mentioning that there's a presidential candidate who allegedly takes cocaine. And hindi niya pinangalanan kung sino ito, but shortly thereafter, I think yesterday, nagpa-voluntary drug test ang dalawang aspirants, si Senator Ping Lacson and Vice Presidential candidate Tito Soto. And they announced that they were negative, and this is the full spectrum drug test, meaning all types of drugs were tested on them. And sabi nga nila, nagpusang loob na sila na magpa-test because they support the anti-drug policy, not just of this government, but like the whole, as a rule. In fact, Senator Tito Soto was saying he sponsored a bill before that required drug testing for all political candidates, but this was eventually struck down by the Supreme Court as being unconstitutional. But earlier today, narinig ko lang naman to sa news na I think in the political rally of BBM and Mayor Sara said that to protect her katandem, which is BBM, from yung mga paninira. So even if the President Duterte did not say who he was referring to, parang meron na siyang, parang just from the reaction then of Mayor Sara, it seems like BBM was being alluded to. But I would have been curious about this and was hoping to ask Secretary Sal din tungkol dito. But anong tingin mo, anong magiging effect nito, Attorney Mike, in terms of like public view of the candidates?
Sa tingin ko, of course, hindi natin malalaman talaga kung ano yung magiging reaction ng mga tao till after another round of survey. Pero sa tingin ko, walang epekto siguro yan sa karamihan ng mga susuporta kay BBM. At baka ang pananaw pa ng iba niyan, isa na naman sa mga paninira na ginagamit para lang talagang, kasi nga siya nangunguna ngayon sa survey. Kung susundan mo survey, siya nangunguna. So, sasabihin ng mga supporters niya na talagang ano lang yan, paninira lang yan dahil siya nangunguna, kaya lahat ng mga kalaban niya napagsak siya. In the same way, if you recall, nung tumakbo si VP Binay bilang Pangulo, there was a time that of course he was leading in all the surveys because he also announced his candidacy quite early. So all the other candidates that were aspiring for the presidency, siya yung naging target. Investigations, etc., etc. So, Well, sabi naman nung, hindi ako nagkakamali, sinabi ng COMELEC, it's not a ground for disqualification, even assuming it's true. No? Hindi naman daw ground for disqualification. So it will just be something na nasa taong bayan na yun, husga. They are willing to vote for somebody who is allegedly, kasi hindi naman pinoint out kung sino. Sabi naman ng spokesman ni BBM na they don't feel that they were alluded to. So, again, gaya na, pag tumatakbo ka talaga bilang Pangulo, or a position for that matter, lalo na kung ikaw nangunguna, expect talaga that they will throw everything at you. Whether it's true or not, it's another story. Pag-usapan yun. Pero basta tatapon sila ng kung ano-ano, para talagang kibayin na yung kandidatura. So, importante lang yan, if they're gonna allege things, dapat siguro may ebidensya. Diba? But sometimes kasi nga, sa mga gantong eleksyon, hindi na importante yung ebidensya. Importante, basta you just accuse somebody of something, but to cast doubts into the integrity or credibility of a candidate. So, subaybayan po natin. Tingnan natin sa mga darating na survey kung ang issue na ito ay magiging negative or positive kagaya ng disqualification case. So, tingnan natin.
Yeah. And kailan kaya lalabas yung next survey? Because I think yung recent na nakita kong survey, Attorney Mike, was before, I mean, after na siya ng mga substitution period. But if you look at the dates of the survey when it was conducted, it was prior to the deadline nung substitution. So, kailan ba ang next na lalabas na survey?
I think in the next 2 weeks yata may lalabas. Kaya nga, makikita mo naman na, for example, ngayon, si Senator Bongo, I think is number 4 in the survey, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 6% or so. But you have to remember that, if I am not mistaken as well, when President Duterte ran in 2016 at around this time, he was also like something like 7%, 6%, 7%. Then bigla na lang lumusog dun sa mga last 2 months, di ba?
Yeah.
Kaya maaga pa ngayon. Maaga pa talaga ngayon na masabi kung sino talaga ang mananalo come May election. Because historically, it has been shown that just because you're leading in the surveys now, doesn't mean na ikaw na talaga. Now, ang importante yan yung magpipig ka. Kaya at the time na magkakaroon ng election, yun ang pick mo. And if you are the administration candidate like Senator Bongo, siyempre, you may built-in advantage ka being administration candidate. But it doesn't, of course, also mean if you're administration candidate, na automatic din mananalo ka. Alam naman natin din yun. Kasi nakita natin ang panahon ng pagtakbo ni Joe Venecia. That was the administration candidate of Batas against President Estrada ng Partido ng Masang Pilipino. President Estrada won overwhelmingly during that time as president in 1998. Kaya ang survey...
Even 2016, the admin candidate was Mar Rojas, but malayo yun lamang ni President Duterte.
Yes, President Duterte. Okay, kaya talagang a survey is very useful as a tool, especially sa mga tumatakbo siyempre. The one that are operating the campaign, running the campaign managers, so they can analyze where they're strong, where they're weak, what issues are the ones that are close to the hearts of the Filipinos, the voters, ano yung ayaw nila, ano yung gusto nila, ano yung ini-expect nila sa kanilang mga kandidato, sa kanilang mga leaders na kanilang ihahalal. Pero yun nga, this is just a snapshot. Snapshot lang yan at that particular point in time. Pwede pa magbago yan. Pag may major announcement na naman or major pangyayari or may something that will really disrupt again or a black swan event na nobody expected, that will propel someone else, no, to rise in the surveys. Kaya as usual, gaya na sinasabi natin na Atty. Karen, this is really exciting times, no? gandang tignan, pag-aralan kung ano yung mga developments. Kasi as we go closer to election day, another 5 months from now or so, makikita mo na maraming nangyayari.
Mm-mm. And speaking of Black Swan events, I think maybe you read that book as well, no? Yung mga highly improbable events that are considered highly improbable but are possible. So, ang sa akin, isa pang naisip ko, nung 2016, one of the things that made a difference, which I don't know if it's gonna apply for this elections, were the debates. So there were presidential debates before, and I think people really got to know the candidates more. And for me, I was watching those debates. I think TV5 also had those presidential, was hosting the because it was all the networks. But President Duterte stood out for being witty. So I think dun yung nag-start din tumaas yung rating niya. So do you think it's gonna also make a difference? Because, di ba, even the vice presidential candidates, they had debates as well. And I remember for me, one of the entertaining comments during the vice presidential debate was Senator Alan Peter Cayetano to BBM saying, pati ba time ko na nakawin mo? Remember that? Like, napaka-memorable for me ng mga debates because that's where you get to see all the presidential candidates interacting. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Senator Miriam Santiago ran as well, right? Because there were times that President Duterte was directing his comments to Senator Miriam. So do you think it would have an impact for these elections as well?
Sa aking pananaw, Atty. Karen, definitely it will. I was there. I was there in Cebu because TV5 covered that part of the election. I think pinag-usapan ng mga network noon, hati-hati sila. It was a COMELEC sanctioned presidential debate. And there was a debate that was held in Cebu. So I flew to Cebu, and I think no less than our good chief Cruz Valdez, our head of news, that moderated the debate among the presidential candidates at the time. And you're right, no? After that debate in Cebu, the more the ratings of President Duterte went up because, as you mentioned, because of his wit, nakita nila na he's very witty, nakita nila na down to earth, the way na kinausap niya yung crowd, the way kinausap niya yung mga fellow candidates niya, very down to earth siya. And I think nag-register yan. Nag-register yan sa mga ating mga botante. For example, no, alam ko, presidente, na-atake nila for being, yung parang hindi nagre-respeto sa babae. Ganon, di ba? Yun ang mga sinasabi nila dati, no? Issue with the president. Pero nung gabing yun, pakita mo naman na nung it was his turn to ask then Senator, the late Miriam Defensor Santiago, sinabi niya, excuse me, but I respect to you, I have regard to you, something to that effect, no? So, at saka, respeto ko yung ability mo as a lawyer, as a legislator, so I have no questions for you. Parang ganun, very gentlemanly yung andating niya. At hindi makalimutan yata ng mga tao yun. Kaya, you're right in saying that the debates, especially the televised debate, will have an impact. Lalo na ngayon, ang ating mga kababayan ay news na kukuha nila ay galing sa TV. The number one source of news is the television, radio. Of course, you have the social media, but for everybody else, no? Kasi ang social media today may mga limitations din sa demographics. But the number one source of news for all Filipinos is still television. And television then is the most cruel medium, sabi nila. Cruel in the sense na pag makikita yung personality mo, makikita yung pagkatao mo, the way you act on TV, and the way you talk on television. Kaya sabi nila very cruel. Kaya nga, But I think I mentioned it in one of
Very
our
cruel
shows.
or very kind to charismatic people because kung very
That is also
charismatic
true.
ka naman,
Yes,
you're suddenly
tama
famous,
ka.
suddenly loved, di ba?
Correct. Well,
Mm-mm.
kaya nga yung mga, di ba, may mga evangelists, no? All over the world. I'm not just talking about evangelists in the Philippines, but even abroad, global. So once they start talking on TV and it's broadcast globally, and then the way the charisma shines through and would reach out to multitudes of listeners. Malaking epekto. Kaya itong debate, I don't know kung ano, no? Hindi ko pa alam kung nag-announce. I don't think the Comelec has announced yet, but I think it is mandated that they be holding debates. If I'm not mistaken, that's why they did it. Meron din, aside from the Comelec sanction debate, nagkakaroon din ng not exactly a debate, but forum. No? Kagaya na nangyari nung the first forum that I moderated by the Financial Executive Association of the Philippines. Kasama na din po ang Management Association of the Philippines, Makati Business Club, and other business organizations, as well as some media outlets. Nagkaroon tayo ng Presidential Forum on the Economy. Ang pinag-usapan lang, o ang pag-uusapan lang, ay ano ba ang iyong economic platform? Ngayon na tumatakbo ka bilang Pangulo, ano ang iyong plataforma hinggil sa ekonomiya? Lalo na post-pandemic. Kasi talagang nahirapan ng bansa, nahirapan ng mundo dahil sa pandemic ito. And that was good. No? Hindi siya debate. Ang mangyayari noon ay each candidate ay mag-represent ng kanyang economic program, platform. And then after that, he will be open to questions from the different business organizations, mga negosyante, at mga professionals. And the questions coming from me also as well. And then, open to the public na kung sino gusto magtanong. But at least as much as possible, i-limit lang dun sa economy. Hopefully, we will have Vice President Lenny as our next guest. It was Senator Ping Lacson who was our first guest, and he did very, very well. He did very well in his presentation. He answered very, very well. I'm sure yung mga nakapanood dun sa programang yun, which was live stream, no? Pati na rin sa Facebook, at pati na rin sa TV5, and then sa One News, no? On Signal TV. I'm sure a lot of the people who have seen that interview were impressed with Senator Lacson. I was impressed with Senator Lacson, although I know him personally, but when he spoke and he presented his platform, I was impressed. And I think that is the right of every Filipino. Ang karapatan natin lahat ng mga Pilipino para tayo ay makapag-desisyon ng malinaw, enlightened, informed, educated decision for the future of our country. At kailangan marinig natin talaga ang plataforma, lalo na sa ekonomiya, ng ating mga kandidato. Kaya narinig natin si Senator Lacson, sana marinig din natin yung kay Mayor Isko, kay VP Lenny, of course kay BBM, kay Senator Bongo,
Pacquiao. Yeah.
Kay Senator Pacquiao. No? And I think gumagawa naman, umiikot na rin sila. May mga ibang business organization, if I'm not mistaken, yung PCCI, just last week, they also had a conference, 3-day conference, national conference. As you know, the PCCI, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, is the largest business organization in the country. And if I'm not mistaken, the different presidential candidates from Senator Bongo onwards presented their economic platform. Pero hindi siya debate. Hindi siya style debate. Kaya it's being encouraged talaga. No? Na talagang kailangan magkaroon tayo ng maraming town hall meetings perhaps, yan, debate, or even hindi debate, they have to present their programs of government. Whether it be just the economy or lahat na. Kasi nung panahon namin noon, noong 2016, si Mayong Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, si Secretary Joey Concepcion, who is the founder of Go Negosyo, together again with TV5 and Philippine Star and other institutions, business institutions throughout the country, we actually had a one-on-one for each presidential candidate for 2 hours, talking about their platform of governance, no? From foreign affairs to national security to the economy to governance, no, etc. Not kinover yan. And everybody attended. Everybody joined. I remember interviewing all of them. I vividly remember interviewing President Duterte. No? Kasama din sa interview was a panel. Si ngayong ambassador natin to the United States, si Dave Sumagas, who is also a columnist of the Philippine Star, was in the panel. Then head of Go-Negosyo as Executive Director, now Secretary of Trade, Bon Lopez, myself, as a at that time also I was also writing for the Manila Standard, I think, and Star. I was also a part of the panel, and we would change from time to time yung pang-apat na panelista depende kung ano yung issue. I remember si Vicky Bello was once a member of the panel. Another business person or business lady was once a member of the panel. And yun, no holds barred. Tanong ng mga questions. No? And we had siguro at least ilan ba yung kandidato natin noon? Six sessions. Kaya I'm hoping that magkaroon pa ng maraming gano'n para makita talaga ng babayan kung ano ang plataforma nila.
Yep, I agree. And I think it's even more important now na hindi makakaikot masyado yung candidates because of the pandemic. But I think it's even better because sa totoo lang, pag live na ikot, hindi mo naman makausap yung candidates and hindi mo rin sila marinig very clearly, hindi mo sila matanong about their platform. So parang ikot lang talaga and kamay-kamay, but it's very superficial. Whereas in a forum, maririnig mo talaga yung ano nila, yung stand nila at yung plano nila on specific issues. And we'll take a break for now, but Attorney Mike, later perhaps you can share with us yung schedule ng future forums with different presidential candidates para all the listeners here can also plan to attend yung mga iba't ibang forum na i-conduct ninyo. So now we'll take a short break. And wag po kayong alis, we have less than 30 minutes left in this show.
Are you ready for the bistro? A rock and roll show. Wash your hands and go, 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 but don't you? This is what you've been waiting for. Bistro RJ, the home of rock and roll in the Philippines, is reopening its doors November 26, Friday. Of course, we will keep you safe. Only those bearing vaccination cards will be allowed to enter. We will keep you safe and implement safety protocols needed. Distance sitting, distance dancing, temperature check. And don't forget to wear your face mask and your face shield and bring your vaccination card. Bistro RJ sitting capacity is 250. But we can only accommodate 50%, 125 every week. So make your reservations early. I will be there live to entertain you as usual at 8 p.m. I have new fresh songs to sing to you and for you to dance to. For reservations, call 0906-221-1524. I repeat, 0906-221-1524. Or visit facebook.com/RJBistro. First come, first serve. Don't forget your vaccination card. The holidays are coming, so book now. Ho! Merry Christmas! Hello there, this is RJ. Merry Christmas to all of you. Christmas time is here again. And as usual, we're going to have our 2-day legendary RJ Guitar Center Christmas sale. December 11 and 12, Saturday and Sunday. All the items in all the stores will be on sale. This is your chance to buy the dream guitar, keyboard, drums, guitar effects, mic stands, guitar strings, guitar straps, drumsticks, guitar parts, guitar cables, the cajon that you're dreaming about, and other musical instruments. So I will see you December 11, December 12, Saturday, Sunday for the legendary 2-day Christmas sale. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 20% off. 1:01 p.m. to 4 p.m. 30% off. 4:01 p.m. to 8 p.m. 40% off. 8:01 p.m. to mall closing. 50% off! All the items in all 10 stores are on sale. Taylor Guitars, 10% off all day long. The sale extends to online sale through Shopee and Lazada, and the same time frame and discounts apply. Strictly no reservations. Cash, credit cards, PayMaya, Home Credit, and GCash are accepted. So get ready to have a beautiful and happy Christmas. Be there for the 2-day Christmas sale of RJ Guitar Center, December 11 and December 12. If you want to check out the items ahead, go to www.rjguitarcenter.com.
For DTI Fair Trade Permit number FTEB-130818 series of 2021. Watch and listen. Kontra Birada every Tuesday from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Hosted by Attorney Mike Toledo and Attorney Karen Jimeno. This program will discuss the most important and fresh news and events and feature their guest, Attorney Salvador Sal Panelo. So catch Kontra Birada on Radio Bandido TV, Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, GMA Afforda boxes, and all DTT boxes. Facebook/DZRJ 810 AM and YouTube channel RJAM News.
Hi, good evening po sa inyong lahat at salamat sa mga nakikinig sa atin since 5 p.m. today. So, bilis lang ng oras, no? It's been an hour.
Oo nga. Magandang gabi din po sa inyo. Pagpasensya na po. No? Mandin na lang po. No? Nandito ako sa loob ng aking sasakyan. Kaya nga, dahil ayaw ko talagang mamiss ng ating programa. Galing tayo sa isang meeting kasi. At wala talagang way but to do it this way. So anyway, importante lang naman, nakakapag-uusap pa rin tayo.
How's the traffic, Attorney Mike? Because that's one of the issues then this week. MMDA announced that they might release their new guidelines by end of this week on whether they will reinstate color coding. At may tatlo silang schemes na pinagpipilian. One is still to maintain yung color coding that starts at 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Or they might impose color coding within certain windows lang during peak hours. So that would be yung late afternoon and early morning. But ako personally, I do a mix of work from home but attend meetings outside and also sometimes go to the office. But the traffic has been bad. So in your experience ngayon, natatraffic ka ba o kamusta naman ang situation?
Well, iba na, no? It's sa pananaw po, halos kapareha. Depende din siguro sa timing, no? Sa oras, sa lugar. But I guess we are already in parang pre-pandemic situation, no? As far as the traffic is concerned. Kasi napansin ko na talagang makikita mo yung takbo ng mga kotse, talagang kagaya na nung dati. No? Ito nga, medyo parang hinuhuli na yata ako. Kasi hindi yata ako park dito. But medyo, I think it's back. Tapos Christmas pa. And then when people are now being, when people right now are, they're being, more, I guess, more willing to go out because one, they've been vaccinated, etc. Talagang gigil na sila lumabas. So makikita mo na marami na sa ating mga kababayan ang lumalabas. At then, Pasko pa, no? Christmas season. So may mga, mga shopping and all that. At natita ko nga, yung mga tao na nagpunta sa mga malls, at halos close to pre-pandemic. Yeah. Kaya, and to think, traffic na ganito, pero correct me if I'm wrong, hindi pa nag-upisa yung klase, no? Diba? It's a hybrid pa. Not every school even has hybrid. In other words, karamihan sa ating mga kabataan are still not going to school. So can you imagine kung talagang papasok na yan lahat, no? So, well, I guess we'll be expecting the usual traffic in Metro Manila.
Yeah, you made a good point about yung schools na hindi pa nga siya full wala pang mga face-to-face classes, particularly in Metro Manila, there were 100 schools na pinilot test for face-to-face classes all over the Philippines. But that doesn't include Manila. And then as of this week, nag-start na rin yung face-to-face classes with 20 other private schools, private naman, but they're outside of Metro Manila. So can you imagine pag bumalik na yung mga schools? Because there was also a report that said the average volume of cars in Metro Manila is in the 400,000 range, 405 to 420,000. But now they're already seeing 300 plus thousand, close to 400. And the projection is that by December, which is less than about 2 weeks from now, babalik daw sa pre-pandemic levels yung traffic or even exceed pre-pandemic levels. So ito, asahan nyo na ang traffic talaga pag nagbabiyahe. And during Undas, one of my friends was mentioning na they tried to go to Tagaytay during that long weekend and bumalik na lang sila because hindi daw gumagalaw yung traffic going up to Tagaytay. So just to manage everyone's expectations, siguro when you plan to go out in the coming weeks, plan as if wala tayong pandemic because apparently traffic is back.
Correct. I think traffic is back, so we really have to plan. At the end of the day, may mga issues ka talaga na hindi may iwasan na kailangan face-to-face na. Maganda lang naman dito sa nangyari din sa, just to put it bluntly, no? Meron din mga may na-realize din tayong pwede natin gawin or hindi gawin during this pandemic. It opened our eyes. It actually opened our eyes to a lot of things, di ba? So I guess one of the things that we realize is that we can actually, in some cases when necessary, pwede naman tayo mag-meeting via virtual. Kagaya ng ginagawa natin ngayon sa ating programa. Pwede tayo mag-meeting via Zoom. So in other words, kung talagang dahil dati kasi we never really considered it, hardly. Pero actually the tools were available, the apps were available, the infrastructure was available, but we never really used it because we don't really we didn't really see the need for it. Or we didn't want, I guess when you're used to doing something, sanay ka na may ginagawa ka day in and day out, bakit mo papabaguhin, no? Pero ngayon, nakita natin na, while of course I'm not saying, iba pa rin yung magkakaroon ng face-to-face meetings from time to time, iba pa rin yung warmth of the handshake, makikita mo talaga yung kausap mo, lalo na kung nag-negotiate kayo or pero you're trying to enter into an agreement or whatever it is, iba na rin yung nagkikita kayo, no? Pero ngayon, dahil nga dito sa technology, pwede kang mag-iwas ng traffic in a sense, no? Kailangan kayo mag-usap, pero pwede naman pag-usapan na walang hindi naman kailangan talaga face-to-face. Pwede maiwasan ng traffic, why not? Di ba?
Yeah,
so, in a way, this is the good part about having this situation.
In fact, for me, as a new mom, I would say that the pandemic, at least the arrangements that were created by the pandemic, yung mga Zoom meetings, work from home, really helped a lot for me to keep working and not have to take a maternity leave after I birth. Because I remember in the hospital when I was still recovering from my delivery, meron akong mga Zoom meetings na na-attendan ko na. So I really didn't miss much because after that, even when I was sent home, I started working and nakaka-attend ako meetings. I could work on my laptop and then send the drafts, at least with regards to my paperwork. So I didn't see the need to take a maternity leave. But that's because iba yung mindset nga na lahat ng mga meetings ng work ko had an online option. Some would go to the office, but there would still be an online option. So wala akong na-miss. But I think if it were the prior setup, all those meetings would be in person, no option to do online. And I would be forced to take a maternity leave because there was no way that I could walk at that time, like after post-surgery and already be out and about. So, there are some good things that came out of this pandemic in terms of making our work more resilient, no? Like how we do our work or even live our day-to-day lives. I feel like it's become more resilient because now we can see also na pag merong disruption, whether it's a natural disaster or some other reason, we know how to work from our individual homes or how to fend for ourselves and not have to, di ba, na yung dating mga nakasanayan na natin, we know already how to adjust.
Tama. Tama. Kaya itong for example, no, technology has allowed us to continue working even if we do not have to go to the office because of meeting through virtual. No? Tapos yung mga doing business, transaction business, no? Like payments. No? So yung mga fintech, no? Yung mga fintech allows us to do a lot of contactless payments. Kaya na Paymaya, isa sa pinakamalaking fintech company para tulungan ka sa pagbayad ng kung ano mang mga kailangan mo transfer payments or transfer money or payments at dyan din yung GCash. At makikita natin na dati kasi ang talagang gusto mangyari ng gobyerno even before was to really go digital, making it contactless and digital. Pero siyempre, at that time, yun nga, dahil nga sanay ka na, minsan nahirap mag-adjust, no? Panibagong pamamaraan. Usually, normal yan. Ako, to be honest, ako gano'n ako minsan. Sanay na ako in a certain way. Bakit ko pa babaguhin? Mag-aaralan ko pa. Unless sometimes you're pressured to do it. Then you realize, uy, mas okay pala. Mas mabilis ang transaksyon, no? And then you can do it anywhere. For example, sa bangko. Hindi ka na kailangan pumunta pa sa bangko physically. Hindi ka na kailangan pumunta sa bangko, pabiyahe ka pa, or even ATM, no? Di ba? Hindi ka na kasi dito na lang sa cellphone mo, sa computer mo, pwede ka na magbayad, no? Kung order ka sa Shopee, Lazada, o sa Amazon, di ba? Tapos i-deliver na. So, marami din tayong natutunan dahil sa pandemya because we had to adjust, di ba? Less contact, no travel. So we had to use technology to be able to reach out to people, to communicate, to reach out to our loved ones, to still conduct business. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng tumigil ang negosyo, tumigil ang trabaho, tumigil ang pag-aaral dahil lang sa pandemya. So it in a way, it brought a lot of good things in that sense. No? And kaya ngayon, sabi nga ng mga latest surveys, the digitalization of, for example, government service or the public sector has been hastened. Medyo napabilis. And it will be best for everyone, it will augur for everyone to do that kasi they can now just transact using their telephone.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to, again, the future plans of, I guess, who our next leader would be, maybe you can share with us, ano yung mga schedule na upcoming presidential forum that where we can expect the presidential candidates so that we can hear more about their plans and how they plan or what their platforms are so that the Philippines can recover, and then ano yung growth prospects, what ideas they have to solve yung mga recurring issues.
We are hoping sana soon. To be honest, wala pang latest confirmation. I guess busy pa sila lahat sa kanya. And I guess it also takes, maybe they're also finalizing their economic platform or tweaking it. So, hinihintay pa namin kung sino ang next. Pero may narinig kami na baka sumunod would either be Senator Manny Pacquiao or si VP Larry to continue with this forum. Nagkaroon din pala, by the way, ng Vice Presidential Forum.
Nag-start na kayo. Okay.
First guest at that time was, I think, Mayor Secretary dito, Atienza. who's running as vice president for Senator Yao. So nagkaroon na rin yun. So we'll see. Kami na naman po ay naghihintay sa kanilang availability at yung aming po sesyon para sila ay dumalo sa forum na ito ay tuloy-tuloy po yan. Hihintay lang po namin ang pag-session.
Okay. So wala pa palang nakaschedule. But I hope that
Yes.
as soon as may nakaschedule na, you can share with us para malaman ng mga tao. And this is on Zoom in terms of attendance pagka gusto namin makinig. Meron ba siyang ma-access siya through Zoom or Facebook?
Yes. Facebook, live stream, sa YouTube, and I think sa TV naman, sa One News channel, if I'm not mistaken, on Free TV, then on Cable TV, nasa One News. Anyway, bibigay ko yung mga detalye pag nagkaroon na tayo ng here program kung sino na nag-accept.
Yeah. And speaking of forum, like tomorrow is the start of the Pilipinas. Well, it started today pala yung Pilipinas 2021 conference. Tomorrow I'll be moderating the session where we have Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Ben Diokno, and we have in our session the participation of the European Union in the Philippines, UPNOA, Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities, where we'll discuss yung importance of unified climate action and sustainable food systems, sustainable finance, in terms of our sustainable recovery post-pandemic. So that's from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. tomorrow, and you can register for free. It's you can go to the Facebook page of ADR Institute and register there. And the session I'll be moderating is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday. And I think Attorney Mike will also be moderating a session, right?
Yes, and I think it's good, Attorney Karen, nag-moderate ka on that very, very important topic. At yan din yata ang pinag-aralan mo, nag-aral ka sa Amerika, sa Harvard, di ba?
Not Harvard Law School, sa Berkeley, yung recently, sa 20...
Berkeley pala. Berkeley pala to.
2020, yeah.
Yung sa Berkeley. Yung akin namang ay tapos na yung sa akin. I moderated an earlier discussion on how the private sector and the government can continue to cooperate post-pandemic and to ensure that our economic recovery is not stalled. No? And I was very lucky, and we were very lucky to have as our guests mga leaders sa industriya. We have no less than the president of Magsaysay Line, si Doris Magsasayho, who shared her thoughts. No? We also have the president of chairman of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Ambassador Yuhiko, and of course the former Secretary of Finance and the head of the FINMA groups, no less than Secretary Ramon de Rosario, who is also the head of the Makati Business Club. So makikita mo, maganda yung diskusyon na yun. Talagang they gave very good ideas on how perhaps the government should proceed to ensure economic recovery, and ideas then on how the cooperation between the private sector and government can continue or be strengthened to ensure that our economic recovery will be faster. Kaya I would like to congratulate the ADR Foundation Institute, as well as Strat-based si Dinto Manhit, Presidente at Professor Dinto, for organizing this. And I'm really glad that you'll be speaking there or moderating there also, Attorney Karen, kasi baka pwede mo rin i-share sa amin sa next program natin kung ano pinag-usapan nyo tungkol sa sustainability, climate change, and all that. Kasi isang bagay din to, no, na sadly, hindi rin naiintindihan ng marami sa ating mga kababayan kasi talagang inuuna naman natin talaga yung trabaho, di ba? Hanap buhay at siyempre shelter. Pero actually, isang malaking problema natin ito na hindi lang sa Pilipinas but nararamdaman ng buong mundo na kailangan din malaman ng ating mga kabayan. Na kailangan gumawa rin tayo ng paraan na makatulong na matigil itong tinatawag nating heating of the global climate, no? Pagtaas ng klima ng mundo that will in effect start the demise of the human race and everything in it.
And I think for us, as Philippines, talagang high risk tayo among other countries, among the highest risk of all the countries in the world. And ngayon pa nga lang naramdaman na natin yung global warming, talagang mas mainit na siya than traditionally in the past, but also yung mga severity ng typhoons na nararanasan natin, mas malala na rin in the past few years. So it is time that we have this conversation. For our session tomorrow, we have si Governor ng Central Bank na si Benjamin Diokno, and then we have Mahar Lagmay, who's the director of University of the Philippines, yung Nationwide Operational Assessment of Hazards, or the UP NOAA Center. And then we also have si Renato Constantino, Executive Director for the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities. And then Butch Mailey, who's the President of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation. And then,
magaling na tao yan, si Butch Mailey.
Yes, at talagang specialty niya to, like even nung panahon ng post-disaster rehabilitation for Uganda, he played also a major role in terms of yung private sector efforts. And then we have Bill Lutz, who's chairperson of the Livable Cities Philippines. And then we have Undersecretary Annalisa Te, who's Undersecretary for Finance, Information Systems and Climate ng Department of Environment and Natural Resources. And then Mauricio Cellini, who's the first counselor and head of Trade and Economic Affairs ng Delegation of the European Union to the Philippines. And finally, we have also si Carlos David, who's the trustee and program convener for StratBait ADR and the Philippine Business for Environmental Stewardship. So, very interesting lineup. So I'm really
Kilala ko halos lahat ng mga na-mention mo, Karen at Tony Karen, at they're really very good people, expert in their fields, dedicated. So kaya I'm looking forward na panoorin ka rin tomorrow. Pero natimbrihan na yata tayo, Tony Karen, na we just ran out of time. Mabilis talaga takbo ng panahon. Pero we really had a good discussion. So, mauna na ako magpasalamat sa ating mga tagapakinig, tagapanood, at of course sa iyo, Tony Karen, for being with us again tonight. And then, of course, looking forward to again doing it, this show with you on Tuesday. So, good evening sa lahat.
Same here. At again, please join us every Tuesday because we'll make sure that you get insights on the latest political issues and, of course, also talk about relevant news. And we'll keep you informed so that you can also, hopefully, makatulong kami na ma-form kung ano yung mga issues that matter to you so that makapili tayo ng mabuting leader for our 2022 elections. And thank you for joining us again today. Sayang at nawala si Secretary Sal Panelo, but thank you and we'll see you again next Tuesday from 5 to 6:30 p.m. here at Kontra Birada sa Radio Bandido. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Atty. Karen. Salamat
Good night,
po.
Atty. Mike. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The views and comments of the hosts and